welcome to Your Gov Non-Part, Political Science and Government for Everyone. And in this installment, we'd like to talk about federal campaign finance and the FEC, the Federal Elections Commission. The Federal Elections Commission was born out of the Federal Campaign Finance Act of 1972. It's called the Federal Campaign Finance Act of 1971, but it actually passed in February of 72. But it didn't allow for any enforcement agency, so it was amended in 1975 to create the FEC as an enforcement arm for the statutes under the Federal Campaign Finance Act. Now, the FEC was created by statute as an independent agency, meaning it doesn't report to any of the three branches of the federal government. It is autonomous. This gives it the freedom to not be influenced by the branches or the parties in any of the branches of the government. The FEC is responsible for the oversight of both the income and expenditures of candidates and parties in federal campaigns, to some degree. And I'll explain. The FEC has jurisdiction over specifically campaign ads to elect a specific candidate or support a specific party. This can be paid for in one of two ways: hard money or soft money. Hard money is money that is donated specifically for the election of a specific candidate or the promotion of a specific party. Soft money is money which is donated for the purposes of issues, for the promotion of ideas, without the advocacy of supporting a specific party or candidate. Now, to a degree, the FEC regulations do in fact cover soft money, but only soft money such that is donated under certain guidelines. Those guidelines came about in a landmark case called Buckley v. Valeo in 1979, and in a footnote in the decision of the court, they tried to exemplify what the criterion were. The idea was actually to use the reasonable person premise, but because they put this in a footnote, people took this as what's called a hard line, a bright line rule, and used the letter of the statement. And as long as you didn't use the 8 magic words, vote for, elect, support, cast your ballot for, Smith for Congress, vote against, defeat, or reject, then you could spend unlimited amounts of money on virtually any issue ad. Now, soft money can come in straight to a party. It can come into a political action committee or PAC. It can come into a 501c4 corporation, which is a type of tax-exempt nonprofit organization which is designed for the promotion of community issues. Or it can come into a 527 corporation. Now, these numbers, the 501c4 and the 527, are named for the sections of the Internal Revenue Code that cover tax-exempt nonprofit corporations. 527s are the largest group, probably, because even political parties themselves are technically 527 corporations. However, in common colloquial usage, 527, when you hear it, is usually meant an independent, private, tax-exempt, nonprofit corporation that is buying ad time to promote its ideals, its issues. If you see an ad and it says, "I'm so-and-so and I endorse this ad," that's not a 527. That's probably hard money, or at most soft money that was donated through the FEC regulations to the party. If you see an ad, most likely an attack ad, which does not specifically use one of the 8 magic words, or does not specifically call for the election of a particular party or candidate, that's probably a 527 ad, and it will usually say so-and-so, some obscure company you've never heard of, paid for the content of this ad, and those are 527 corporation ads. Now, FEC regulations, even though they're an independent agency, the regulations, because of the statute they were created under, carry the full force and effect of law. Even though they are not statutes, the rules carry the full force and effect of law, and violation of those rules, therefore, carries the same sort of investigation and adjudication and punishment as breaking a law. The FEC is a 6-member panel. It consists of, by statute, by the law that created it, 3 Republicans and 3 Democrats. These individuals are appointed for 6-year terms by the President of the United States and confirmed by the United States Senate. They are in staggered terms, so 2 come up for appointment every 2 years. Now, that actual theory is the President appoints a Democrat and a Republican, and the Senate then goes through a confirmation process and confirms them. In actual practice, however, the Senate usually puts forth the names of individuals that would be easily confirmable. The President then picks one from each party and appoints them, and the Senate has an easy and fast confirmation process. This has raised some concern and some debate about the effectiveness of the FEC over the years, but thus far it has been a fairly effective agency. Now, one would think, because it is split down the middle along partisan lines, that you would often end up with deadlock and never get a 4-2 majority. Not true. The FEC has managed to pass many regulations, and members have crossed party lines for the good of the country. It has been a good and effective agency. The FEC is faced with some unusual challenges in the respect that there are, as we've said, things which are under their jurisdiction, and the 527s which are not under their jurisdiction. And the problem with this is that 527 corporations can receive money not just from individuals or groups, but from corporations and from unions. There's really no law precluding them from receiving money from foreign nationals or foreign governments. So their issue ads, which are beyond the jurisdiction of the FEC, can be influenced by parties we might not necessarily like to see influencing our elections. To what degree this happens is hard to say, because the records and soft money for donors to 527s is not as strictly regulated as those which do fall under the jurisdiction of the FEC. Now, if the FEC is the enforcement arm, if you will, of the Federal Campaign Finance Act, who polices the police? Well, in this case, it is the Office of the Inspector General. Now, the Inspector General is not an individual. There are many Inspectors General. And there is a specific single individual who is the Federal Elections Commission Office of the Inspector General. And their job is to oversee that there is no wrongdoing, no misappropriations, no fraud, no malfeasance, which is wrongdoing, by the FEC. They are a member of the National Organization of Inspectors General, And this is the responsibility, and this is who polices the police. So this again is another example of where we have checks and balances that go around. Now the FEC has been faced with some challenges, some court challenges all the way to the Supreme Court besides Buckley v. Vallejo. And one of those came in 2010. The FEC had passed a regulation banning ads, certain types of ads, within the last month before a federal election. In 2010, this was contested by a 527 called Citizens United, who won the case and allowed for the continuing of posting of issue ads right up to the campaign, because the contention was that to ban these ads was a violation of the First Amendment and the right to free speech. So the FEC has faced its challenges, but still managed to persevere and make good, solid rulings. We've placed below in the links a number of links to various sites on the FEC, the FEC's Office of the Inspector General. There's also a detailed paper below explaining the possibility of eliminating soft money altogether. Now, it's a rather technical mathematical paper, so it's not for the weak of heart, but there has been a continual movement over the years and various acts of Congress to eliminate the use of soft money. It has always come back to a First Amendment ruling, and it will probably continue to be an issue in the years to come as the amount of money poured into campaigns by large corporations, unions, and other large groups continues to grow. And it has grown at an amazing rate over the last couple of decades. In a future video, we will explain more about the nature of an independent agency versus a dependent agency. We hope you'll join us for that. We'd like to thank you for joining us on YourGov Non-Parts section on the Federal Elections Commission and Federal Campaign Finance. We hope that you'll take some time to subscribe and join us. You can always find us on Facebook. If you have questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section below. And as always, thank you for watching.